Lovely to see you again. What's on your mind?
Likewise.
What's on your mind?
Bit of an issue at the moment just with demand. So closed out the year last year with some real big wins, very positive results. People have gone on holiday, a couple of engagements have just concluded, having delivered everything we said. But now I've only actually got a couple of clients still in the middle of an engagement, and we're just sort of trying to ramp into the next year. So I've really only got maybe 2.5 days demand a week.
Okay. So Terry, I'd love to learn more and help with this. I'm going to take some notes because coaching conversation, these are just notes to help me through the conversation. I'd love you to take notes as well. So as we go through, take a few notes as we go. Also, in terms of this issue, in terms of the issue around the demand, I mean, there's a few things we could do. I could just sit here and listen, which I'm very happy to do. So I could just listen. I could give you some advice in terms of what I would do in your situation, or I can ask you questions and help you figure out a way forward. Which would you prefer?
So probably, I think the coaching session, if you maybe just help me with some questions to help me think differently about it.
Tell me more about the so what. Is this an ego so what? Is this a financial so what? In terms of, not sure exactly on your current arrangement. So is it a financial issue? Is it an ego issue? Is it a excitement issue in terms of, I know you always love what you do, or is it a combo of those? What's this? Tell me more about the so what.
So it's definitely a combination. I'd like to say it's not an ego thing, except it is a financial thing, but it's not like we're in like financial dire straits or anything. 50% normal income. I think it is partly an excitement thing as well. Like I just love helping people, as you know, that's my thing. But it's also, it's kind of like a desire to be active, even if it's not maybe excitement. I'm not good at not having enough work. I mean, I could read a book or something. But
and you have to come in, let's say you've got 2.5 days time. Can you literally, you just do 2.5 days work and have 2.5 days where you're not in the office or you're not working? You're in a non-work mindset, or not necessarily?
Yeah, I'm kind of doing 2.5 days and then
2.5 days of
and 2.5 days of not doing
non-work. Okay. In terms of what I've heard, bit financial, a little bit of your whole purpose is to help other people, and you're not doing enough of that, and there's a little bit of wanting to do stuff. In terms of the outcome, or maybe if we look at this in terms of what would success look like, what would you love to get from this coaching chat that we're going to have in terms of around this issue?
There's two sort of potential objectives. One would just be maybe some activities I can do to drum up some extra demand. And then the other might be just to help me sort of think through what else I might do with that time.
Okay, so at the end of this conversation, if you could have some sort of a few ideas as to how to maybe get more demand or look at demand and useful things to do. If I look at the outcome that you want, that could be achieved. So do you want it to be achieved within the boundaries of you're doing the same job? Because that would lead us to a very different conversation.
I'm not constrained.
Okay.
Now that you've mentioned it.
So maybe we could chunk that goal up a bit, rather than saying just how do I get activities for more demand within your concurrent boundaries. Chunk it up a little bit from that. Put that in your words in terms of the outcome, that bigger picture outcome for Terry.
How do I increase the activity in the current situation or allow a different situation to emerge?
Do you want to write that down? Write it down. So how can I increase the demand in my current activity or allow new types of demand to emerge? On a scale of 1 to 10, how much do you love your job right now? Let's forget the demand piece. When you're in the flow, doing what you're doing, how much do you love what you do right now?
It's a 10.
Wow. Okay. Which is a great score.
Oh no, it is. I absolutely love what I do. It engages me. I make a difference in people's lives, and that means a lot.
And you get freedom to do that in your way.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
More than maybe before.
Yeah, I do. That's right.
And more variety than before. Okay.
Yes.
That's good. So what's fantastic, Terry, is that you've got, even though you haven't got that, maybe the fullness of it, you've got richness within the work that you are doing. And a lot of people don't get that. A lot of people don't come to work and get that 10 out of 10.
Oh, no,
I
you're
love
right.
what I do.
It's something I'm very grateful for.
Yeah. In terms of the ways to drum up demand, what have you, I'm sure there are some things you've thought about already. What have you tried or what have you thought about already in terms of how can I get more demand for the stuff I love doing? And this is just, but this chat, Terry, it is just between us, as always, confidential.
Right. No, thank you, Sam. And I know you and I respect that. I did see it coming. I was so interested in the current activities and engaged with the work I was doing. It just kept getting closer and closer until now I'm in the middle of it, and I've honestly done nothing.
Okay. What's your current line manager think about this, and is it a problem for them, or is it only a problem for you?
No, it's a problem for them as well. They're trying their best to drum up some more demand.
And do you think for agile coaching in general, there's a bit of a trend at the moment of there are other colleagues that you know that are also in the same position? Yeah,
the market is tight at the moment. There are people who have been looking for 12 months.
Okay, so this isn't just a Terry thing, and coming back to that earlier, the thing around the ego, it's an industry thing as well. So it's from an agile coach perspective. Don't feel it's just you, Terry. It's a bigger thing.
Yeah, I suspect it's not just me.
So you've not done anything about it. So let's now start thinking about, with an objective of increasing that current activity, and let's stick within the realm of where you are now. You love your job. What could you do to try and tweak that demand?
Two things kind of come to mind, and they each align to the different objectives that I mentioned as well. The simplest and most obvious thing, I think, is just to reach out to the network. I've been reasonably active in the Agile community. Yeah. There's a few people out there who know me and trust me and that kind of thing. So that's one thing. Okay. I might just make a note of that. Yeah. And
when you say we're reaching out to the network, is that to say, I'm Terry, this is who I work for, I need more clients? Is that, or would it be a different, what would the conversation be if you reached out to the network?
Largely, it's people who know me well enough that I wouldn't need to say who I am. Yeah. It would just be, hey, have you got anything on?
Okay.
Okay.
What was the second one? So the second one you said was more of maybe the useful things to do side?
As you know, I engage quite heavily in the Agile community. Just focus some of that. In fact, I'm actually doing a little bit of that. I'm helping.
When you say Agile community, give me some more examples. So IBA is when you're on now. What else would that look like in terms of other organisations or people that you'd reach out to?
One of the hosts for the Agile Sydney user group.
Yeah.
Agile Tour conference might be a good time.
Okay. To reinvigorate some of those chats.
Let's renew something, redo something, design something, come up with something.
Those are good activities. Let's go back to the work-related demand. Who's responsible for are you responsible for your own selling of your time and demand, or are there other people in this company who are supposed to help you with that?
So there are other people who...
Who are they?
So that's my line manager,
okay.
And then there's another one of his colleagues.
What could you do along those lines to strengthen what they're trying to do?
To better support them? I guess just have a conversation with them. What's in the pipeline, and how can I squeeze something out a little sooner? Or
so let's just continue with that then. In terms of what something practical that you could do with that line manager in terms of that kind of accountability for demand. What could you do with that? What's something practical you could do?
I think I could have a conversation with them. I have brought clients on board myself.
Yeah.
Without sort of the process coming from them. There are clients who have been referred to me directly.
Connecting with the line manager to have the conversation. Do you want to make a note of that?
Yeah.
So there's an option here around a deeper chat with your line manager. Tell me more about this direct client. What could you just mentioned that. What could you do around directly sourcing
Well, that was kind of where I was going with the network.
The network
piece.
Okay.
So just reach out to people I know in leadership
clients.
positions,
Yeah, okay.
and I mean, I don't kind of think of it as clients, but so my network's pretty complex.
Yeah.
I've got quite a few agile
Yeah,
coaches and
yes.
scrum masters, product owners, but then there's also leaders and
What are
CEOs.
your superpowers, Terry? What do you consider yourself a real expert in? What do others look so? When you come and consult, what do people say in terms of what do we get when we're getting Terry?
I wouldn't call it a superpower, but it's actually measurable results.
Yeah.
So in the agile community, there are a lot of people who talk a good talk, but it's kind of hard to know. The teams are doing these new practices, but has it actually improved the delivery of valuable outcomes? The reason that they extended for another 12 months is because we could actually show we had delivered more than 300% value on what the cost of the engagement was.
Wow.
So
measurable results.
Yeah. Like financially measurable, not just...
Which is often difficult.
More people doing it. Sort of
difficult in agile.
Yeah.
What could you do with that? How can you link that to them?
I may be resisting my own thought, but it feels like that's the sort of thing that would have too long a lead time. By the time I sort of got much of that underway, demand would have picked up anyway.
You've got success stories, you've got things you've done.
Mm-hmm.
How could you use those to try and promote?
I could post a little bit.
What do you post at the moment? What are you talking about? What's Terry talking about?
I normally post in support of the community activities I'm doing.
What channels do you use?
Only LinkedIn.
So what could you post instead?
Well, the first thing that comes to mind, so I actually helped a New South Wales state government department deliver something in one day that had been estimated at 10 weeks.
Boom.
We had an amazing fun day together where we literally got the people in the room who normally throw work at us and then complain when it's wrong, along with the people doing the work, to spend the whole day together and deliver something that you could just see the light go on in people's eyes. You could just see the difference it made to them. And not only did we deliver 10 weeks worth of work in one day, but the solution we delivered was many times better than what was asked for. Like many
That's
times
huge.
better.
How many more of those you got?
I've got a few. That's just the most recent one.
Write something down, Terry.
I have.
There's some gold in there.
I have.
What else, Terry? So we've talked about reaching out to the network. We've talked about filling time with Agile community. We've talked about meeting with your line manager. We've talked now about posting stories that don't sell you directly, but you tell the story, but it's obviously it's your thing, and there's a knock-on perception of Terry's superpower. What else could you do?
Actually, I could reach out to some past clients.
Okay.
So I've got there's quite a few that we've had really good engagements with.
So reconnect with some of those people. So should we call that beyond the network? Because if you call the network your friends as such, beyond the friends network into the client network. Let's call that one the client network.
Yeah.
That could be something really good. What I'd like you to do now is to just think about other agile coaches, either in your friend network or not. What have you seen other people do to generate demand? What else?
Nothing's immediately coming to mind because I've kind of stepped out of coaching and into consulting.
Okay.
So normally as a coach, there are some coaches who run multiple engagements at the same time, but most of the time you're engaged 5 days a week with
Yeah.
a client. So you're not having that kind of juggle of multiple clients. You're not having a situation where I've got a couple of days work and not much else.
Yeah.
So there are some, but I haven't seen what they're doing to generate those kind of slices of a week.
I think that there is some LinkedIn stuff that a lot of people do, and I think it can create a brand over time. I think there can be an expertise or things that can come up if you regularly show superpowers or those content. So maybe if there's not something you've seen others do, what about your peers, your colleagues here? What do they do?
So there are a couple, and we've had conversations. It has largely been, I hope the work picks up soon.
Okay. Could you take it beyond that, like in terms of ideation and proper dialogue and sitting down like this and saying we have a problem here? And
quite like that, actually. Yeah.
Terry, we've got 6 things. Let's just go through them. So, number 1, I heard your friend client network reach out. Number 2, do more stuff in the Agile community. I'm sure there's lots of stuff in there. 3, line manager, have a deeper chat with the line manager and kind of have a coordinated sell together. 4, your superpowers on LinkedIn, posting content about stories. 5, beyond the friend network into the client network. And 6, talking to colleagues. All of them got some value. If you were to kind of say, going back to your goal, so let's go back to your goal. Your goal was, can you remind me of your goal, Terry?
So how can I increase demand in the current situation or allow a different situation to emerge?
Okay, with that goal in mind, what would you start with?
I think probably the first one is the friends network, maybe number 1. The community activity, I kind of think, happens anyway.
It doesn't necessarily increase your goal. It doesn't really hit the goal in terms of it's a filler.
Yeah.
But I think there's more in some of the others.
The line manager conversation may allow something to emerge, but I'm very confident they're already doing the best they can with what they have.
Yeah. Okay. What else? Right. So keep going. Superpower.
Posting
stories
on LinkedIn. Post some wins there. I think that has the potential. Yeah. I tend to get a lot of comments and responses.
How many followers have you got?
Or connections? 15,000.
Wow. The client network?
Yeah, look, I think that's a good one as well. I think that's going to have a lead time as well, but I think it's worth doing it. So that's actually probably number 4.
Yeah.
I think number 3 is the ideation with the other consultants.
Yeah. More immediate.
Because we can quickly have a conversation, get some post-it notes and come up with something.
So what I've heard is that you'll definitely go, the idea you had around the Friends Network, go in there, start to come up with a few stories and maybe post one of those stories on LinkedIn, and then sit down with your colleagues and have a powwow to try and generate some ideas.
Yeah.
Terry, at the beginning, you said that you hope to finish this conversation with a good list of activities to increase demand. I think what you're faced with is a challenge, and there's no silver bullet in here for me listening to what you're trying to do, but I hope that at least that's generated some things that you can take forward with a bit of confidence. How are you feeling?
Yeah, good. No, that's good. That at least gives me a few things to do that something will come of it.
Terry, thank you.
Thank you, Sam.